Good morning, ladies and gentlemen around the world. My name's Wiley Drake, and we're coming to you today, broadcasting to you live on the Congressional Prayer Conference of Washington, D.C.'s live television and radio network. We're going to talk a little bit more about the network, TV and radio here in a few moments, but before we do, we want to say to you, welcome to the show. I want to remind you that anytime during this show, you can call us on a conference call line. We have a special congressional conference call line with a telephone number and an access code. You can also call us on the same area code that Barry Soetoro has, that is 202. Now, if you'd like to call on the conference call line and just listen in and hang on and comment, if you'd like to be on the panel discussion line, the Congressional Prayer Conference has a panel discussion line. Take your phone and call 712-432-1690. 712-432-1690. And when you do that, you'll be able to join us. Now, it will ask you for your access code. The access code for that line is 399-430-pound. 399-430-pound. Now, you do have to put that access code in. It will ask you to identify yourself. Now, you do not, I repeat, you do not have to identify yourself. You're welcome to call in and remain anonymous. You're welcome to do that if you'd so like. Or you're welcome to identify yourself. That is, you can tell us who you are, where you're from, what organization you work with and support, what organization you're asking for prayer for, and what organization you'd like us to know more about. So, we're here now for an hour. In just a moment, I'm going to try to connect us to our radio network, Crusade Radio, and it's time for us to do that right now. So if you would hang on, I'm going to call them and see if we can get them on the line. And if we can get Crusade Radio online, then we'll not only be on television, but we'll be on our radio network as well. And by the way, if you'd like to be a part, you'd like to do your... Whoops, they're still busy. So the last person on the air is still on the air, even though it's almost 2 minutes after the hour. I'll wait a minute or so and then call back. While I'm doing that, while I'm waiting for that, I would like to remind you that if you too would like to do your own radio show on Crusade Radio, simply give me a call at, you can send me an email at roadrunnerandwiley@gmail.com, roadrunnerandwiley@gmail.com, and you too can do your own show on Crusade Radio. Or if you'd like to call me anytime, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you can reach me on my cell phone number. My cell phone number is always with me, and that cell phone number is 714-865-8132. Now, if during this show you'd like to come on the communication channel, you can do so. Put in your access code and then continue to listen and continue to be a part of the panel discussion. This is a panel discussion prayer meeting held and sponsored by the Congressional Prayer Conference of Washington, D.C., and the radio network as well. Now, if you would like, you're welcome to join us. Join us here. I'm in the studio on the West Coast headquarters of the Congressional Prayer Conference of Washington, D.C., but I happen to live here in Southern California, and so we're broadcasting to you from our studio here and also in our headquarters here for the Congressional Prayer Conference of Washington, D.C. If you would like to be a part of this Congressional Prayer Conference, television and radio network, we welcome you. We encourage you to join us. Ladies and gentlemen, we are what I refer to as a no budget. Everything we do here is a labor of love. I do not get paid a salary, nor does my executive producer, Brother Jaime Guillen, get a salary. None of us get paid. We do this as a labor of love. Now, if you're an intern or you're a broadcaster wannabe or a producer wannabe, something of that nature, and you'd like to be a correspondent for the Wiley Drake Show, you're welcome to do so. We would encourage you, ladies and gentlemen, to be a part of the Wiley Drake Show. And the way you do that is you simply notify me and say, hey, I'd like to be a correspondent. I would like to be a correspondent for the Wiley Drake Show. We would love to have a correspondent. I was invited to a meeting at the White House just a day or so ago, and as a result of that, basically what happened is simply this. I simply was invited, but I'm here on the West Coast and could not be there, and I needed a correspondent on the Hill. I needed someone to go over to the White House as our correspondent. Now, in case anybody asks you what your media is, what your network is, we are Internet, and we are the Congressional Prayer Conference of Washington, D.C.'s television and radio network. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be talking to you about a lot of stuff today, and we welcome you to be a part of what God is doing. Now, in just a second, like I said, though, I'm going to go up on Crusade Radio. Let me see if I can get them up now. We'll try that one more time. Crusade Radio is just north here in Northern California, and we're going to call them, and if it rings, there we go, it's ringing, and then that will ring a second time, and then it will automatically answer, and as it answers, we will merge that call. And so we are live right now, ladies and gentlemen, on the communications line for the Congressional Prayer Conference of Washington, D.C. We're also on the communication line with Crusade Radio. So we are television and radio networked around the world on the Internet. Now, I would like to encourage you to stay tuned, and if you'd like to talk about any of the things that we're going to be discussing today, we would encourage you to join us by coming in. Now, I want to share with you one of our correspondents here locally. I wish he were in D.C., but one of our correspondents here locally, one of our neighbors, is a fellow by the name of Wes Parker. And Wes Parker sends over to me something from an organization that I have a great deal of respect for, and that's an organization called Numbers USA. Numbers USA. Well, they put out a press release that says the DOD, that's the Department of Defense. You know, you have to be alphabetically challenged to know what's going on in Washington. You have to know what FBI is, and CIA, and DOD, and HHS, and all the other alphabetical garbage that they use. Well, the DOD, the Department of Defense, those are the folk that help defend our country. The Department of Defense, DOD, announces military amnesty for illegal aliens. Yes, you heard me right. The United States of America, the USA, DOD, Department of Defense, has announced military amnesty for illegal aliens. The Obama administration, who is the top dog, commander-in-chief, head of the DOD, and so forth, and he is our president, illegal though he may be, illegal alien though he may be, he is our president. The Obama administration announced a new Department of Defense policy on Thursday evening that will allow illegal aliens to enlist in the military for the first time in decades. Current policy forbids illegal aliens from enlisting. Duh, as my kids used to say. The current policy forbids an illegal alien. That's someone who came in here from another country, and they're not a citizen. Forbids them from becoming and enlisting in the military. However, the Secretary of Defense, That's SOD, Secretary of Defense, may, it says, authorize enlistment for illegal aliens if it is vital to the national interest. Now, folks, that's a catch-all statement. If it's vital to the national interest, they can do anything they doggone well please. And it's not vital to the national interest to have illegal aliens in the military. But if they say it is necessary, they say it is vital to the national interest, then they can say so and do so. President Barry Soetoro has promised to begin offering executive amnesties to illegal aliens by the end of the summer, only a few weeks ago. He delayed any announcement until after the November elections, obviously, folks. The delay of announcement is vital to the liberals getting reelected. The new policy, known as the Military Ascensions in the National Interest, or MAVNI, M-A-V-N-I, will allow up to 1,500 illegal aliens who qualified for deferred action under President Obama's Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, DACA, amnesty to enlist if the illegal alien possesses high-demand skills. Well, if they have a high-demand skill, I suppose he's talking about how quickly you can cut off somebody's head, and how quickly you can sodomize a little pre-teenage girl, and how well you do that, and how well you can saw children in half. I guess that's the requirements for that. And so, according to USA Today, certainly not one of my favorite newspapers, but they do a fairly decent job. According to USA Today, illegal aliens with language skills critical to national security, such as Arabic, Chinese, Pashto, Persian, will likely be targeted by recruiters. President Barry Soetoro program has granted amnesty and work permits to more than 500,000 illegal aliens since the announcement in 2012. In 2 years, folks, we have admitted a half a million illegal aliens into our country. What a tragedy. The announcement comes at a time when the military is rejecting more Americans trying to enlist in quite some time. A report published by the Kansas City Star earlier this year said that as many as 80% of Americans trying to enlist are ultimately rejected. Furthermore, earlier this year, Defense Secretary Hagel the Daigle, has announced plans to draw down the number of troops, and the military has been forcing current officers out of service. And of course, we have all heard about that. The DOD military amnesty, folks, what an absolute tragedy. What an absolute tragedy. And I want to say thank you to our correspondent, Brother Wes Parker, for sharing that story with us. And, of course, there are others as well. Let me find one other one here for you from that same correspondent that Wes Parker posted here in reference to what else is going on in our nation and in our world. There's a study that says executive amnesty could shield drunk drivers. Oh, okay, we're going to give these guys amnesty because they know how to cut people's heads off, and they know how to rape little girls, and they know how to commit all these heinous crimes. That's not good enough. We want to let all the drunks run out too. So, Center for Immigration Studies analysis says that an executive amnesty that protects alien traffic offenders from deportation could shield the drunks and tens of thousands of other offenders convicted of drugged driving, driving under the influence of medical marijuana, what a bunch of garbage that is, drug driving, people that have committed homicide with a vehicle, vehicular homicide, carjacking. If you're good at carjacking, they're going to give you amnesty. Vehicular homicide, and by the way, for the teenagers who just want to go joyriding, they will give you amnesty because you like to go for joyriding. Folks, I'm not making this up. Brother Wes Parker is not making it up. It is happening. Advocates have been pursuing the Barry Soetoro administration to exempt illegal aliens from deportation if they only committed a traffic offense. Traffic offense? How about vehicular homicide? Is that a traffic offense? Well, according to Barry Soetoro, it is. And Mr. Soetoro was a drunk driver and drove on dope when he was a little younger, and maybe even doing it now, except I don't think he drives much. They drive him wherever he goes. But the center says such offenses, vehicular manslaughter, joyriding, vehicular homicide, are all harmless. Folks, I ain't making this up. This is the truth. You're not going to hear this on CNN. CNN means certainly not the news. The Wiley Drake Show, you get all the news. The analysis found that from 2004 to 2013, 258,689 aliens whose most serious state of local conviction was a traffic offense were deported by ICE. More than 57% of those deported in that category were convicted of drunk and drugged driving. Over the same period, 55% had been previously deported. That means they'd been sent back home before in 2013. 22,740 illegal aliens were deported after drunk and drugged driving convictions. 70% of these aliens were prior deportees. An amnesty to benefit alien traffic offenders determines the enforcement of immigration law and circumvents Congress with the sole goal of protecting illegal aliens from deportation, said Dan Cardman, a co-author of the report. To suggest those convicted of traffic crimes, many of which were fatalities, i.e. somebody died, are not a threat to public safety. Huh? Folks, you heard it here on the Wiley Drake Show. I'm not making this garbage up. I'm just reporting it. Brother Wes Parker is reporting. And they're not a threat to public safety and are not worthy of law enforcement resources, is a slap in the face to family members who have lost loved ones to reckless, illegal alien drivers. Well, they won't have to behead your children. They won't have to sodomize your little girl. They just run over you with a car. And they're getting presidential approval for that. Wes Parker of Bellflower, California, thank you for your report on the Wiley Drake Show. And ladies and gentlemen, you can make those same kind of reports. You have a report, you can make it right now. You don't have to wait. You can call right now. Call me on the Washington, D.C. number, 202-747-4839, and give me your report. And the number is on the screen, 202-747-4839. That's our Washington, D.C. number, and if you'd like to call us on that, please feel free to do so. Now, the executive amnesty and it's just unbelievable what's going on. We also want to share with you, not from one of our correspondents, but from an organization that we quite often quote because they do such a great, great job. I would encourage you, ladies and gentlemen, if you do not have this wire service on your laptop, on your desktop, or on your Android, or on your Droid phone, or on your iPhone, or your iPad, or your mini iPad, or whatever device you download, if you do not have it, put ChristianNewsWire.com on there. I want to share with you some of their press releases. Mark Batterson. Do not know Mark, but Mark is going to be hosting a free, I like the price already, free online training on how to cut people's heads off. No, I'm only kidding. Mark Batterson is going to be hosting a free online training for those of us that think we know how to preach. Well, I've been preaching for a long time, and I do know a little bit about preaching. However, Mark is going to be putting together a free online training to show me as a pastor and you how to use sermon series to boost the impact, how to choose sermon passages and topics, and how media can amplify a message. You can put it on your timeline, put it on your Facebook, put it on your Twitter, etc. And how media can amplify a message. And also how to leverage seasons and holidays for maximum impact. And how to plan with a team, no matter what the size. I'm learning that because I am learning how to work with my team here. Our dear brother in the Lord, Frank Auguste, is part of the team. Our other brother, Brother Jaime, is a part of the team. Brother Ronnie is a part of the team here with us, Brother Ronnie Cruz. And we also had a meeting yesterday with part of our team with our food coordinator, Brenda Dardy, and her dear sister, Frankie Ott, and they're part of the team here. And we also have another member of the team, Peter Rabbit's on our team. Brother Peter Maxon is on our team. Brother Peter does a lot of things, but he's a part of the team. And Brother Will Ruffin, who is a part of the team, is head of security and teaches the Bible study on Sunday morning. And we all are a team, and we work together. And we have Brother Charlie and his dear wife Olivia, and that group, that pair, that duo of the team had to leave us because, as I said, our ministry here is a labor of love. And Charlie and his dear wife developed a habit a few years ago. They like to eat regular meals. And in order to do that, they needed income. And so Brother Charlie is off driving a truck and took his wife with him. I tried to get him to leave her behind because she is a team member here, but he needed to have his wife with him. She works as a team member in our, what I call neighborhood products pantry. Products everywhere from shoes and socks. Also this week we, for example, had a local lady in the community that needed a wheelchair. And it just so happens that God had provided for us a wheelchair. Now, so far, I haven't needed a wheelchair. I have a car, and I can get around pretty good for an old dude, but I didn't need a wheelchair. But I guess somebody thought I might one day, and they donated a wheelchair to us. Well, until I need it, we donated it to this member of our community. If you need shoes, you need clothing, you need a wheelchair, you need a walker. If you don't need a wheelchair yet, maybe you need a walker. You need a walking cane, you need a walker, you need blankets, you need sheets, you need sleeping bags. Just this last Sunday, one of our other team members, a Korean couple, donated a couple of brand new in-the-bag sleeping bags. And we just so happened to have a new couple that came on board, and we gave him and her, they're not a couple, but there's a man and a woman, but both of them now have a brand new sleeping bag to use here at our shelter. And so that's just more and more a part of our team. And we want to remind you of that and remember our team. And also, there's another press release here I want us to take a look at. Public Advocate responds to blog critics in Michigan about its pro-family survey. And a Public Advocate is in the Michigan liberal blog media spotlight right now, and we would encourage you to go there and check them out as well. And there's many other of these press releases with our dear friends at Christian Newswire. Now, if you